I remember the first time I was told that I was sleepwalking. It was really weird because it's like the whole concept of sleepwalking is really odd because I had nothing to do with it. I didn't make the decision to sleepwalk at all. I just did it. I wasn't even conscious during it. So it's a really weird thing to even wrap your mind around. When I was a kid, I remember seeing this news story that kind of shook me. It was about like these kids in the winter who would sleepwalk outside of their houses and get locked out, and they'd freeze. And so after I started sleepwalking, that was a fear that I had. Um, Mine, and I was trapped in there. I couldn't get out of the door, and the walls were like coming in. And so there is a little window that I can see into the other room next to me, like just like I can see like the roof of it. So I decided, hey, like that was probably my best bet. So I was climbed up there to try to get up there, and then all of a sudden I was falling, and then I woke up, and then I hit the ground, and I looked up and I realized that I climbed on top of my record player, which is like this high off the ground. And it's really weird, like when you wake up in the middle of sleepwalking. Like a lot of studies will say like don't wake someone up from sleepwalking, or I don't know, they'll like freak out or something. But it's just kind of confusing. And yeah, so my record player is kind of busted right now, which is depressing. And also I'm climbing onto higher places when I'm unconscious and unaware, and that's also kind of unfortunate. And sleepwalking is kind of an easy thing to put off because it's just like, oh, it's kind of like a dream, like you forget your dream and you just push it out of your mind. It's kind of like sleepwalking. You're like, oh yeah, that happened, but that was like back then. So it's kind of an easy thing to put off. Like I never talked to a doctor or anything about it, but I'm going to now. Like the appointment's all made and everything, so I feel like that's a step in the right direction. Because like a lot of kids sleepwalk and then they grow out of it, but I never really sleepwalked as a kid. I started getting it, well, like I guess I was technically a kid, but most young kids sleepwalk and they grow out of it once they become like a teenager. But I started sleepwalking around my teenage years. So yeah, I'm going to see a doctor, and this was kind of a mumbo jumbo. Um, Sleepwalking is kind of an easy thing to like not necessarily ignore, but just kind of like forget about. Like whenever I'd go to a doctor's appointment, I'd never bring up anything because I'd always forget. It's just like, oh yeah, I just do it once a month, and it's a little sleeping thing. Like I've never even seen it or been a part of sleepwalking myself, so that was kind of confusing. No, just keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Sleepwalking is kind of an easy thing to put off because it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I'm not even talking to the camera. I'm talking to you. It's hard to explain why it's easy to put off, but it is. It's just like another thing that you're like, I gotta go to the doctor about sleepwalking. Like, I'll do that sometime. I'll do that later. I'll do that in the future. It's not something because like I've never, like I said, only the time when I fell off was the only time I've ever really seen myself kind of sleepwalk or seen the consequences of it. I've always just woke up in my bed and I hear about all the shenanigans I got into the night prior. But I've decided that it's probably in my best interest to go to the doctor, and hopefully then I can stop sleepwalking and sleep sound and like a normal person.